Yeah. For Actifio On-Tech.
All right, so we're live today. Here we are.
We're live every time.
I know. Well, I'm very excited to be live as usual. So welcome everyone.
I'm just excited to be alive.
Yeah, there you go. Welcome everyone to Actifio On-Tech. Today is Thursday, January 10th. Happy New Year. We already had our New Year episode last week.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm still feeling Happy New Year.
New Year, new you.
New Year, new me.
Yeah.
I am on a diet. That's part of my New Year's
The
resolution.
skinniest guy in the office is on a diet. Don't
Only bourbon barrel aged.
Yeah, only bourbon barrel aged gingerbread stouts for you.
I also like to call attention to our fancy new background. We're in our studio. New background. Look at how cool is that?
Rise.
Yeah.
So I know. There you go.
You need like a winter theme though. That should be all frozen.
Well,
so.
maybe next time.
We had some snow squalls here today. Nothing major though.
I know. Gio, you want to check the audio? Make sure the levels are good, big boy.
Check.
So with that, usual group today, right? I'm Jay.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Chris.
So welcome everyone. This week we've got some good stories. Who is starting? I'm not starting this week. Someone's starting.
First, we should start with our.
Our beer.
Oh yeah.
So look at the
Gio's
cover.
got
This looks
audio.
like champagne, right? Look at it's got the champagne sort of locking wire cover.
Well, we're sophisticated here.
Clearly
so only
very
the best.
upscale.
Only the best for us.
Absolutely.
So this is a beer I picked up from a friend of mine. It's a brewery called Hardywood. They're in Richmond, Virginia, and this is a bourbon barrel aged gingerbread stout. So we're a little bit past Christmas, but you always think of gingerbread cookies for Christmas. So I wanted to bring this one over here and try it out before it got too late in the season, then have to save it for another year, and I don't really like to do that. This one actually is from 2015, so it's actually a few years old already. So it'll be interesting to see how it tastes and what it's all about.
Careful with that cork there, buddy.
I know. I'm like,
Don't aim that at anyone.
well, I'm a little nervous, right? So if I pop this, it's going to start spraying everywhere.
I don't know.
all
We'll
over
see.
the
Let's be
computer.
careful. Let's be ready.
So if I start chugging it, well, just to save the beer. So.
Understood.
All right. So while I do this, why don't you guys go
out of your
first?
you want to go first or shall I?
Yeah, I'll start off.
All right, please.
So, recent announcement from Amazon Web Services. They have a new service called DocumentDB. This is a MongoDB compatible service,
Yeah.
and I guess not only interesting that they're releasing this, but sort of want to give some of the backstory behind this. So MongoDB flexed their licensing recently on Amazon, and they said, hey, if you're going to have services based on this, you're going to pay me a licensing fee. And as one might predict, Amazon said, okay, we will go build our own. So they did.
Oh, interesting.
And this is not based on MongoDB, but it is compatible with MongoDB.
Interesting.
And I think with the typical AWS game plan, this is sort of the get out to market, put it out there. People are going to start using it, finding the issues, and they'll start fleshing it out.
Smell that.
Smells very nice. Smells like a little bit like.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Looks like, smells like it's been brewed 4 years ago.
I know.
And we're drinking it now.
What are you talking about? I get some gingerbread smell.
No,
out
it's
of it.
good.
So
Anyway.
Hand me your fancy
Did we do
champagne
that
for
stuff,
the.
the document storage thing today with Mongo if you don't want to pay for it?
Right, so Mongo is open source, and
Yes.
you can use it in your environments,
Right.
all that stuff. They also offer a hosted version,
Yeah.
and they want to be the only player in that space,
Yeah, thanks.
which is why they charge licensing.
Gotcha.
And so Amazon said, yeah, well, hey, we can implement this, right? So Amazon's kind of the leader in the service-based industry. They have the power to do this. I think if you were following it at the time when Mongo said this, you probably saw the writing on the wall that Amazon was not going to stand
Right,
for this.
sure.
They're going to do their own thing if they want to do it.
Sure.
So I'll be watching this with interest and see if we can use it in any of our stuff.
Awesome. Cool.
Guys, cheers.
Try.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers to all of our listeners.
Cheers.
Whoa. That is very flavorful.
It's really quite interesting. You can tell they take the bourbon, the barrel.
Yeah, you still get the barrel.
You still get the barrel, so even though it's 3 years old, you get some barrel, which is
Yeah.
nice. And you still
4
get
years
some
old.
gingerbread. 4 years, 2019.
2019. Represent. I've been reading all my log files wrong because I keep going 2018.
Ah.
Oh.
All right.
This is nice. I like it.
So let's see. You guys want to talk about? You want to do?
Can I go first?
Of course.
All right.
Well, you can go second.
Oh.
Guess he wasn't listening earlier. That's okay.
So,
Please continue.
CES is this week, Computer Electronics Show. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Kind of introduced it a little bit. And one of the things that has come out of it is that the CEO of NVidia, which creates like gaming PC graphics cards, if you've heard of them, has said that Moore's Law is dead. Now, what is Moore's Law?
Moore's Law means that, the CPU performance doubles every, 5 years?
18 months.
18 months.
And not CPU performance, but clock speed.
But I think that relates to performance. I think the idea was performance.
Sure does, but clock speed hasn't changed in many years.
Yeah.
Nerd fight.
So yes, Moore's Law is dead.
But yeah, essentially, over the years, these chip manufacturers have created these chips with more and more transistors on them, resistors, whatever the heck the resistors there on them, to make them faster and smaller.
Right.
Things like in our iPhones and things like that, which have increased the processing speed and power while shrinking the size. And so you've seen over the past, how many years? 100, 200 years? When was Moore's Law invented? I don't even know.
I don't think it's been quite that long.
1965.
There you go.
So 200 years.
So I was pretty close.
Let's say last millennium.
That was pretty close. So, yeah, there you go, last millennium. So since then, this theory has come out that every 18 months, the processing speed will increase or double. And so it's been a race for all these chip manufacturers. And what we've seen, we mentioned this, I think, on another On-Tech, that some of these chip manufacturers have actually stopped making chips.
Right.
Because they just can't keep up with the investment in the research required to
7
make these
nanometers
small chips.
about.
Right, 7. So there's now 10 nanometer chips, I believe, which
Is
are
bigger.
Is it bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
Okay.
The number, the smaller. So 7 is the one.
So 7 is the one that's giving the issues.
Yeah.
I think it's nanometers.
And these labs to build these chips cost billions.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
exactly, right? And so the return on investment as well is not that great either. So there's a great article here on CNET that talks about, with the 7 nanometer chips and how, even for the past few years, it's been where that actually hasn't been doubling in speed. It's been like, 1.5, 1.2x instead. And so basically, we've kind of seen the end of Moore's Law in this sense when it comes to CPUs and things like that.
Right. And NVIDIA's in a sort of interesting position because they're doing GPUs primarily, which actually are very parallel process units.
Right.
So instead of just making the transistors smaller and increasing the clock speed, they can actually just increase the number of units. So they still are able to come out with cards that are faster at their various tasks. But you have to be able to code for that task.
Right.
So things like gaming, for sure, Bitcoin mining.
Right. Bitcoin mining. That's why there's a shortage of the cards for a while, right?
Yeah. So certain operations are definitely well fit for that.
Agreed.
And we'll see how they continue to do that.
Yeah. Well, but even with Bitcoin, right, the mining has decreased since the coins have kind of gone in the dumper in terms of value, right?
Yeah.
And I was actually reading an article where Ethereum Classic, there was this like hack.
Yep.
A 51% hack.
I was going to talk about that as well. Yeah.
Oh, wait, all right. So I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, not at all.
But essentially what happened was, because this is Ethereum is one of the adjuncts of Bitcoin, I guess we'll say, and Ethereum Classic is an adjunct of that, or whatever, spin-off of that. And because not many people are essentially mining these coins, if you get enough people with enough hardware power, they can actually take over the code, right, for whatever it is called, for the actual coin, and like get what they call a double payment.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like a hack, essentially?
It's not even a hack, really. This is called out right in the design of Bitcoin, which was kind of first in the scene. So when you mine this blockchain and you're creating this immutable ledger, that's protected by the fact that people agree on what the chain is.
Right.
So if you have over 51% or over 50% of the hashing power, you can spend your coins and you can make another chain secretly and then publish that chain and go, oh, okay, we'll take that chain and spend your coins again.
Wow, okay.
So they were able to do this.
Right, and there's no banks that will like enforce the fact that you've done this double spend or whatever you want to call it. Right. So,
however, most people thought that if you did a 51% attack, you would crush the coin's value and thus kind of hurting yourself, right? So we'll see if that plays out.
Right.
But
yeah,
you kind of have to strike really hard, get the money, and then
get out real quick, right? And that's what they did, right?
Yeah.
And another segue, by the way, reverse segue about Amazon, Jeff Bezos is getting divorced.
First, I know.
So it'll be interesting to see how that
Not the world's richest man
$138 billion fortune, where that all goes.
Right, it's true.
But there's a lot of talk about that as well, like what's going to happen, because they've been together for 25 years. So before Amazon really took off, they were married. He was building the business. So it'll be interesting to see, will she get 50%? They also have 4 children.
California.
So, exactly. They're in California. So, I don't know if they ever had a prenup way back in the day or what will happen, but there's a lot of gossip coming out of Amazon because of this new development as well.
And I guess the question would be, depending on who gets what stake, will he sell off to somebody some portion of the company? Is he going to lose control they used to have?
Because a lot of his value is in stock. And it's like, well, can you split that up in a divorce?
Sure you can.
Can you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So the question would be, does he have protected shares? So if he has to sell half his stuff, can he still control the board? That I don't know.
Yeah, good point.
Quick Google that.
So
get back to you.
We shall see. Jay, you're up.
What do you think, Jay?
So how many of you guys, I bet the answer is everyone, like to exercise?
Oh, yeah.
Well, define like to exercise.
Well, that's true. Exercise.
I like to...
It's a yes or no question.
It's a yes or no question.
I don't like to exercise.
And how many of you like to help the environment?
Oh, I do.
That's a yes or no question, too. All right. So, a CES announcement. Here is a new way to do both at the same time.
I saw this.
Bike to work.
Sports Art Verde released the N685.
Okay.
The N685 is a treadmill that you run on and generates power back to the grid. So now you can just run all you want and you're saving the environment because you're now giving power back to the grid.
How much power are we generating on this treadmill?
Now we're hamsters.
Exactly the same. It's like a hamster running around on a friggin' wheel.
It says about 200 watts an hour of energy when someone walks or runs on the treadmill, which I sadly don't really know what that means, but I imagine that's not going to really help you.
So 200 watts would be 2 traditional light bulbs. Or maybe 10 to 20 LED light bulbs.
But for how long? How long would time period?
Computers.
How long would you keep those lit for?
So like a typical fit person would be able to generate 100 to 200 watts for an hour, and that would be like a good workout. So it's not a ton of power. And certainly you wouldn't do that by walking.
I know. Well, they claim walking or running, but you're right. It has to be running.
But you already solved it. You said biking to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Less carbon emissions in the vehicle.
If you don't want to bike to work, you can just bike. And that's much easier to translate to electricity.
Agree.
They have that too. I think they also offer a bike that generates power.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we could hook them up with Peloton and
there you go.
We get going.
But now you're using the power with Peloton,
that's
so
right. You can balance it out.
Well, you can power your Peloton.
Spend it right in.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's see. The next one I have for you is one of my favorite trivia questions.
Oh boy.
So U.S. News and World Report came out with this list of best jobs of 2019. And they based it on median salary, on the employment rate and growth, and on the stress level of the job.
Okay.
So can you guess for me, I have 20, can you guess for me
any of them?
Any of the 20.
Craft beer brewer.
Sorry, no.
No good salary.
And I'll give a hint. Here's an even bigger hint. One broad category, one broad industry makes up 80% of the jobs. What industry do you think that might be?
Healthcare.
Healthcare is right.
Yeah.
So 80% of the jobs are healthcare related. So you can guess either healthcare or non-healthcare. It doesn't matter. Hit me up with something.
I mean, obvious ones.
Proctologist.
Plastic surgeon.
Well, I'll give you that. It says surgeon, not specifically plastic surgeon, but
see, I would think stress levels for surgeons would be
I would think so too,
if you're a brain surgeon, like that's pretty stressful.
You can't
heart
pay me enough to go in and cut someone's brain out.
There's another one in here, a couple in here that I feel like are kind of stressful. Like
CEO.
Really. Yeah, right. No.
EMT.
Nope.
A
nurse.
Yes, a nurse.
But I feel nurses. I know some nurses. They have stressful jobs. You know,
like one on here is obstetrician and gynecologist. I would think actually obstetrician could be kind of stressful because you're delivering babies. You could be getting called at random times. If it's a difficult childbirth, that's kind of upsetting.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like Most childbirth today is pretty straightforward, but
Hopefully, but there's always
there's
those.
always outliers,
that aren't.
of course.
I guess the good thing there would be there's always people getting born, so you
Well, that's
probably
true.
have a pretty
That's true.
set schedule, and
That's
you're
true.
doing it a lot. Maybe it's rhythm
That's
for
true.
these guys.
Yeah, that is true.
So I'm guessing software engineers not really super high on this list.
You know what? Software developers number 1.
Not healthcare.
No, can you believe that?
I actually gotta believe that.
And number 2 is, but I feel like it's kind of stressful. Like
I don't think
feel
software
software development.
I don't think software development is that stressful.
But you've got like schedules you have to meet, or you're supposed to meet. But
supposed to be.
Jay with the burn.
No comment on that
Hey, I can't meet the schedules while I'm here with you guys.
exactly.
one. Oh,
Exactly.
always blame it on Mark.
Yeah,
it's always
exactly.
Mark's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Sales guys blame us,
Right.
engineers blame us. It's
Yeah.
always our
Wow.
fault. You know?
So the number 2 is actually not healthcare either. It is.
Is it a politician?
It's a
Plumber.
good idea though, but no. It's of all things a statistician. So all you
Yeah,
do,
you just-
I mean,
That has become more popular lately.
I know.
Go to the
it's pretty
baseball
good.
game, be the guy at the game to keep the score.
Yeah, totally.
Or
So
big data now.
the only other non-medical related ones are mathematician.
Trash man?
No.
That'd be
I don't
pretty
think the
low
median salary is very good there. I think you lose. on
Ah,
that,
true.
actually.
Yeah, you're right.
Are they unionized?
Yeah,
Probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably not bad then.
A mathematician, and the interesting one is cartographer.
Map maker?
Is that even a job?
I guess people like
Probably
Google
got put out of
Maps.
business by Google.
I know, right? Like, isn't there maps for every part of the world now?
Yeah, that's right. So, but there's a whole bunch of other pediatrician, dentist, physician's assistant.
I think pediatrician would be kind of stressful. Sick kids.
But a lot of times
Kids
it's
yelling
wellness
and screaming all
check,
the time.
and I guess physical therapy, nurse, midwife.
physical
That
therapy.
seems stressful to me.
Physical therapy seems not too stressful.
Anesthesiologist, occupational therapist. How about here's one for you? What's a prosthodontist?
It's a person that does fake teeth.
No, fake limbs.
No, that's
Prosthesis.
prosthetics.
Yes.
But dentist isn't that
Oh,
teeth?
fake teeth. I see. Well, that's probably not too stressful.
We got the power of Google.
You think
fingers.
that's the highest
How do you
growing
spell it?
job of 2019?
PROSTHODONTIST.
Ooh, I think you might be right.
Dentist with specialty
Yeah.
cosmetic and implant dentistry.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's cosmetic.
Dental prosthetics.
Why is that growing so high in
It's
2019?
not about growth, it's about what? Best.
That was
Well,
one
this
of
was
the
one,
three
but that was
categories.
less stressful jobs.
Yeah, it's no. They say
Growth, stressful, and
median salary, employment rate / growth, and stress level.
Growth. Well, I mean,
okay, so
there are a lot of people out there that now have money to spend on busted up teeth, I guess.
Oh, because we've been eating more sugar, so all our teeth are rotting, and now we got to replace them.
All those people in the UK can get their teeth fixed.
Wow.
Wow.
Austin Powers joke, by the way. I am English, Irish, and Scottish.
Triggered.
So my teeth aren't that great. I never had braces.
But you still look good to us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, great
Tell my
quiz,
wife.
Jay. Thank you.
There we go. All right. Well, good job. You guys got you hit the nail on the head, and Jason got a few too. So it's excellent.
All right, I'm going to do one, which is another kind of weird one. So I don't know if you saw this, but anyone of you guys own a Ring doorbell?
I do not.
Anyone know what a Ring doorbell is?
Yes.
You know, the doorbell with the camera on it?
Yeah. Totally.
They're kind of actually very popular now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting one. Apparently in California, a man was found licking one for 3 hours. So, obviously this guy was on something.
And it was all on video.
It was all on video, so the
great.
Ring camera on the doorbell found this guy licking the intercom speaker right outside the door for about 3 hours at 5 a.m. in the morning.
That
He
is
actually
really-
left, urinated in their bushes, and came back and kept licking it again.
Wow.
Needless to say, this man's been placed under arrest. 33-year-old man in California.
Wow.
33.
Yeah, and was charged with larceny as well because he stole the. He stole the extension cords from their lawn that was powering their lights and
Okay.
blow up Christmas ornaments.
I would give him an A for persistence.
Right?
That is quite impressive that he would spend so many hours doing
So
something.
if you roll over in the morning and you see this on your little Ring app, do you just not go outside?
Well, the scary thing is that he did from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Oh, 2 to
Parents
5.
weren't home, but the kids were home.
oh,
I'm assuming they're older kids.
I hope. Yeah.
But
That's okay. They weren't going to wake up for another 10 hours anyway.
Yeah. Right.
well, so the Ring alerted them that it was happening. And I don't know if they could.
I
I guess
didn't
they
call
called
the police.
I
You don't
know.
talk to- if
But
someone-
if they got us out there for 3 hours, you would have called it if you know.
Yeah, you called the
I don't
cops.
know. But
Good police response down there.
So, obviously, if you get a ring, it's nice to see if anyone's going to steal packages from your door, or if you're getting a delivery. But
That's
also,
a common one.
You could find some dude licking your intercom for 3 hours in the middle of the night. Power of technology, everyone.
Sounds fantastic.
You sound thrilled.
Not creepy at all.
Got anything else, Jay?
I do have a couple more.
Oh boy.
So, one of the things that I think was really interesting is, are you guys familiar, and I think we've talked about it, with 5G? Right, 5G,
5G.
Next generation cell phone, really fast, new network, a lot of complexities.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist, clearly. But people are starting to think about it. In fact, some of the first devices rolled out at CES, but that's a different
Completely
topic.
unnecessary.
Yes, totally. But
Yeah, is 5G necessary?
No.
well, some people say it's necessary I would love it if it was a replacement or competition for terrestrial internet, right? I would love it if I could finally have a
I don't
competitor
even know what that
Internet, or-
means.
You're talking about for cable?
for my house,
Oh,
for a
okay.
cable to my house. Because I find that there's no real competition in my house, and so they can just jack up the price any way they want because they don't care. So, but anyway.
Well, it's true that 4G towers are overloaded now because everyone has cell
Right.
phones. Everyone's got data plans.
Yeah.
So I digress. But the key thing is, AT&T decided, you know what? It's time for us to roll out 5G, even though they don't actually have a 5G network.
No.
So fantastically, what they did is they rolled out a new update for some Samsung phones and some LG phones that essentially changes the icon that when you log on to the network, instead of saying 4G, it now says 5G.
Wow.
And so 5GE. So now you magically get 5G even when connected to 4G. How impressive is that?
I guess this would be one of those things that would be stopped by some government regulation if they were
You'd
working
think,
right now.
but they didn't.
Unfortunately,
Ooh, I have a good segue for that as
they're
well.
not paid.
Yeah, well. So they did that, and T-Mobile and Verizon and the entire industry is now making fun of them.
Yeah,
saying
good.
this is ridiculous. Like, this isn't 5G. You know,
yeah.
the little E they're saying this is an E. It's not really, but it says 5G, and the E is like really small. I mean, the whole thing's small, but so that's my crazy story from AT&T of the day. Now I guess they claim they have more 5G phones
Than anyone else.
That is marketing, folks.
I know.
My segue into that, the government shutdown, is that if you didn't know, brewers, beer places cannot create any new labels that will go across state lines because of the government shutdown, because the ATF has to approve the labels.
Yep.
So if you're a craft beer brewer, or even a big beer brewer, and you want to create a new beer, you can only create it for in-state only, because you cannot ship it across state lines because the label will not be approved by the government.
And one of the things you may have noticed with our On-Tech series is that we generally don't drink the same beer twice. That's because most of these craft brewers now are launching new beers all the time.
Right, it's a
True.
way to sustain the hype.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
FOMO.
Exactly.
So this could actually hurt some small local businesses that we would want to be supporting. As
It could, but I mean,
would
like,
think.
we drink a lot of Treehouse, and they all do everything all in state, so they'd
Right,
be
I know.
fine to.
Okay, I guess you
release
can
some new
support the big
ones.
guys.
That doesn't stop some people from shipping them out of state, but we won't mention
I
who
won't
does
name
that.
names there. No.
It's not new labels.
Regardless.
Don't know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
irregardless, huh?
Irregardlessly.
Wow.
Irregardless.
All right.
All right, well.
Our time is short. I do have one more, but we can table it unless you want to hear about it.
Can roll it over to next week.
Well, it's got to be new in the week. So there's a story on Motherboard where a guy decided to just game this thing, and he gave a bounty hunter $300 to find a phone. It turns out all the location data that your phone provides to your cell carrier is then sold to other companies. So for $300, this bounty hunter was basically able to get the location of this phone. So he provided the guy a Google map and said, here's your phone.
Here it is.
Which was really crazy. What a violation of privacy that is.
Oh,
If, like,
I'm
essentially,
sure it's on
for
case.
$300, I get a location of anyone, right? I could go and say, give me a location of, I don't know, here's a phone number. Go find that person.
Well, I mean, when you enable location, that's why you need to enable location services and allow.
Well, actually, the cell phone providers track you no matter what, because location data is the GPS and cell
And the
phone
emergency
triangulation.
thing as
Right,
well,
but
yeah. The
You're
emergency.
communicating to the tower; they know where you are.
That's
Which
true.
is, I think, a little scary.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's on page 100 of the terms of service that you signed.
Yeah, you're right.
You read it, right?
Yeah, of course, in great detail. That was page 172.
Oh,
exact.
okay, I'm sorry.
Line 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's all we have for today.
So, thoughts on the beer?
I like it.
I like it.
It has. I still come back to it. Has really that bourbon barrel taste, but it's not overwhelmingly so. I like it.
And
It's
not
a-
as sweet as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Definitely not as sweet. Well,
is
that's because of the
great.
bourbon barrel,
It's really
of course,
nice.
right? But I really like it, and I still get like a gingerbread, ginger kind of
Yeah,
taste
it's
out
in
of
there.
it.
Ginger
With-
probably
with the-
faded over time.
Yeah, exactly. Probably was a bit more hefty 4 years ago, but I also feel like I still get a lot of barrel out of it, which is
Definitely.
nice because that usually fades as well.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely not barrel.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thanks
No
for
worries. It's
sharing.
fun to share new beers and try.
I
new
love
beers.
it. I've been enjoying it.
Oh, well,
Back to the diet now.
that's on tech.
Back to the diet,
Back to the
exactly.
diet. That's on tech for this week, January 10th, 2019. We will be back next week on the 17th. Have a good one. Cheers.
Bye.